So you want to be a healer? I have so many clients in the last quarter century who came to me as not as healers, as executives, as writers, as different things, different professions not related to healing. And after working with me for a while, and maybe not related to me at all, they became healers, whether professional, amateur, just for fun, whatever. So I want to give you a few basic points about what do you need to learn, what do you need to do if you want to become a healer. So the three things are, and this is just my way of doing things, this is my ideas, I'm not saying that these are truths written in stone, but number one, you need a divination system. You need something like tarot, something like that. You need, number two, you need to understand a system of archetypes. More than one would be good, but at least one. And number three, you need a healing modality. You need something to shift the energy. So let's go one at a time. A divination system. Learn to read tarot cards. Learn I Ching. In the system called resonance repatterning, now the first thing I studied, it was called holographic repatterning. We use muscle checking, also known as muscle testing in kinesiology, and it's a simple on off, yes, no kind of thing, and it happens so fast you don't see it happening, but the practitioner knows what's going on, so you can check things. Okay, so you need a divination system. You need a way to find information that is beyond your own studying and your own knowledge base. You need something that takes you into the realm of intuition. And when you use that system more and more, you will actually become more intuitive. It takes practice. It takes doing it a lot, okay? It's something that people do get frustrated about in the beginning, because when you start as a healer, you're not going to know everything. And you're also probably not totally trusting any of your abilities, your ability to heal, your ability to use the divination system, your understanding of the archetypes. They're all going to be shaky. So you're not going to be charging anything or much. But just as a side note, if you're starting any kind of healing practice, it is my opinion that you should not work on friends and family in the beginning. Okay, most people, when they learn a healing method, the first thing they do is they want to work on friends and family. That usually doesn't work. Number one, they're going to let you do your thing as a favor to you, not the right energy. They're going to be more skeptical because they know you as the normal you, not as the great healer. Okay, so they're not going to really trust it that much, and they know you're a beginner. Whereas other people, especially if you're giving them a free session, they're going to be really happy to have a free session. And if they get anything out of it all, they're going to be happy about that. So, end of side note. A divination system. Pick tarot. Okay, it's more complicated. But all of those systems will help you increase your natural intuition. And The second is archetypes. You're going to need to understand a system of archetypes. And by that, I mean something like astrology. And astrology, you have signs, the signs of the zodiac. Those are all archetypes. You also have the elements. You have fire, earth, water, and air. Okay, and you can do a lot with those elements, right? If you have somebody that's a water sign and they are in a relationship with somebody that's a fire sign, and the fire sign person is saying, I can't get things going with this partner, like they got water, they're putting out my fire, somebody that's an emotional burden to somebody who is normally very active and creative and all of that, right? We don't want the water to put out the fire, for example. Just an example, okay? So we need a system of archetypes so that we can understand on an energetic level. So we can use astrology, and within astrology, like I said, there are the elements. We can also use the system of Chinese medicine, of the different meridians. That's a much more complex thing in my view. Also has elements, but it's a different element system. It's 5 elements rather than 4 of astrology. Another system of archetypes you could use are chakras. And that would be probably the simplest to learn. But anyway, you want, again, a system of divination, and you want a system of archetypes. You want to be able to think in archetypes. Thinking in archetypes is just like if I say, he's an old man, she's a teenager, a rebellious teenager, right? These are archetypes. And yeah, they're kind of like stereotypes, but they're also useful because sometimes we do need to categorize things. Sorry. And then the third thing we need is a healing modality. The most common is probably Reiki. You can do a Reiki class all over the world. They exist. And by doing level 1 of Reiki, you can start doing healing on people. The main thing that I study is called vortex healing, the Merlin lineage. Pretty wild stuff. I think much more powerful than Reiki. I also studied something called M healing that is also related to Merlin. But any kind of energy healing system is a good thing to learn, right? So you want something to diagnose, and then you want something to go deeper where you can dig into it a little bit more. And that's the divination and the usage of archetypes. And then you want something that'll move the energy along. And that's your healing system. When you put those all together, then the most important thing is you need to work on people. And let me tell you, as somebody with over a quarter century of experience being a healer, this is where people fall down. Okay? This is where people don't make their dreams come true. It's a beautiful thing to want to help people out, but you have to practice. You have to work on a lot of people. And like I said before, ideally strangers. You want to work on people that you don't know their background, so that when you have an intuition and it's correct, you know That was an intuition. See, if you're working on a friend, if you're working on a family member, how do you know? I mean, you already have opinions about these people. So, since you already have opinions about them, when you say those opinions in the healing session, they're going to just feel attacked or feel like, yeah, that's what you always say, and now here you are saying it again in the guise of healing me, right? It's too messy. So what you want to do is, when you have a stranger that you're working on and you have an intuition, they're like, oh my God, how did you know? And you're like, was that right? Really? Oh my God. Then you start building up that confidence in your intuition. Okay, another thing, your healing comes first. A lot of people that I've encountered in this healing sphere, they take a lot of classes, they don't practice on a lot of people, and they don't receive healing from others. They don't work on their own issues beyond going to classes, and that's a mistake. If you have a technique that you're learning and that you think works and it's really good, you need to have sessions, and ideally, if you can do it, you need to pay for your sessions, not just trading sessions with somebody on your level. Find somebody on a higher level, find somebody with more experience, and really get in there and do the work on yourself. It'll make you a better healer. It'll make you compassionate to what your clients are going through. And most importantly, and this is what I discovered, it really gives you the confidence to know this stuff works. When I became a healer, I had a friend who introduced me to the first two modalities that I learned. And shortly after I decided to pursue healing as a career, I committed to her to doing one session a week for an entire year. And the only time that I missed that session is if I was out of town, out of the country, something like that. So basically, I did 48 to 50, whatever, sessions in that year. And what happened was I cleared a lot of stuff. Not all of it, okay? Don't even think about clearing all of it. That's might be physically, spiritually impossible. I don't know. But the more you clear, the better it gets, really. So what happened was like, I would be in some emotional issue, and I would call her and say, can we meet earlier? Can we move it up a couple days? And usually she couldn't do it, so we'd keep it the same time. And then I'd go in there and I'd have a really great session because I had an issue that was really coming up. And I would really notice, like, wow, we cleared that issue so deeply in that session. This is no bullshit. And then there were other times where I was like, I'm feeling good this week. I don't need a session. See, my system was calm. But I had committed to doing these sessions, so I showed up. And then what happened was that I had a real breakthrough session because my system was not agitated with an issue that was flaring up. So I could go a little deeper to something that was hiding under the surface, and I could get it before it popped up. And that's a really good thing to do. Ideally, that's what you want to do with all of your issues. So if you get these three things, if you get a divination system that you learn, like tarot, if you get a system of archetypes that you learn, like astrology, chakras, whatever, and then you have a healing modality you can use. Now, let's say if you tell me, well, I don't have any money to take these classes. Okay, remember this. At the core, you're a divine being. So is everybody. Your intention to heal will have some impact. Okay? Have you ever noticed you hit your elbow or something and immediately you put your hand on it? You hurt yourself and you immediately put your hand on where the pain is? That's healing. It might not be as spectacular, but any kind of calming, reassuring, any kind of caring about another person can be extremely healing. And so, you can just put your hand on the person's back and just intend to send them healing. And that will do something. Okay? But try to learn a method or get something like vortex healing or Reiki where you get it by transmission or attunement. And have an energy modality that you can use along with your archetypes and your divination system. When you have all of those three, you're ready to start working on people. And when you start doing that, then you're going to develop your own system organically over time. The more people you work on, the better. I've been to so many healing classes where there might be 100 people in the room and everybody wants to be a healer, and only maybe 5 or 6 of them are actively doing it, and the rest of them are kind of like, well, when I take the next couple classes, then I'm gonna start. Okay, if you have these 3 things, even at a very rudimentary level, start now. Start now. And try to find people that you don't know so that you don't have any preconceived ideas, and get to work. It's an amazing thing to actually help people change their lives. And if that's something you're called to do, I hope you do it. Thanks for listening. My name's Andy Sway. You can find out more about me at andysway.com. Thank you.